Welcome back to the Healthy Business Podcast. I'm Ty King from American Business Engine, and with me today,
Jessica Tolliver with CAM Collaborative.
Awesome. Jessica, how are you?
I'm good. It's hot.
It's crazy
hot.
Yeah. And this room alone, like I've noticed, it's hotter than it was 2 weeks ago.
I think I may need to buy an extra fan. I keep buying fans, and every time I find another place I need a clock or a fan.
Well, then it overrides the sound on the camera, and then I guess this is just part of it. Like if you want to record a podcast, you got to suffer.
You're gonna have bright lights, and you're gonna be hot.
Yeah. Can't mess with your phone. Got to have bright lights. You got to be in the heat.
We'll figure it out.
Can't really. Yeah.
It's just an unusually hot summer. It has come on early. It has hit hard, and it's gonna stay.
I saw these the cool things that Sony is selling, and they're like air conditioners for your body. Have you seen those? Like they're really popular in Japan right now because it's the only place they sell them. They don't even sell them in America. But it's like basically it comes with a T-shirt. So there's a white T-shirt, and there's a pocket in the back, and it's got like an air, ventilation.
Yeah. So now I've seen that.
So you put that in the little device, and it looks like it's about the size of like an Apple mouse. Drop it down in, and like it basically feels like, from what I've seen on videos, like 4 ice cubes on the back of your neck. You know what I mean? But it tries to cool you off, but it also has a heat function in the cold. But like they're really popular right now. They were built for the Olympics that were supposed to happen in 2020, but they didn't. Because it got postponed.
So I know a person who does a lot of Renaissance fairs, and one of the things that she got was this pendant, and it's this silver gold medal, pendant, and it's designed to be filled with ice. And you wear it right at it hangs right at your sternum, so right at your core. And when you're walking around the Renaissance Fair, you keep it filled with ice, and it keeps you cool. And then part of the stick is when your ice melts, you go back to the guy, and he gives you fresh ice.
Okay.
So that you're cooler and you don't, die of heat exhaustion while at the Renaissance Fair.
That's interesting.
It's very similar.
I'm gonna have to see this.
Yours is more technical. This has probably been around for 100,000 years.
Oh yeah, which are the ones that are they're probably better at it. You know what I mean?
Probably a lot cheaper.
Probably a lot. Yeah, I think the Sony thing was like over $200.
Oh yeah, this was probably like 20.
Yeah, there you go.
Plus
ice.
ice.
You have a cool little pendant.
Yeah,
with it.
absolutely.
So that's a little story to tell. Well, I was out. This is my first public appearance since 2 weeks ago. So, yep. Had the COVID. The COVID came back. Tried the COVID. Don't like the COVID. Don't recommend the COVID.
Okay, good.
Nobody do the COVID.
Good to know. Out of 5 stars, we're going to give it -2.
Yes.
Check.
Yeah, for sure. Not fun. And so, like, rather than just like being continuously sick, though, like it was a different series of symptoms every day. It was
interesting.
Yeah.
Like you pulled the symptom out of the pot. This is what we're feeling today.
Yes. Rather than having a scale of like, oh man, I'm doing bad. I'm right here. And then just like climbing the scale as the days go along. No. It was sliding over into other symptoms instead. And so it's like, what am I going to wake up with tomorrow? And it's like, is there going to be fatigue and tired and dizzy and all this stuff? Or am I going to feel like puking? And, it's like all kinds of stuff.
Well, I'm glad you kept that at home.
Yes. So I didn't feel like bringing it to the studio.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't have enough sanitizer for that, but...
Right. No straight remedy for that. So that's been bad. Trying to pick up the pace and when most of your business relies on you, and then you're down. I know we've talked about this before, and you physically cannot do the work that you've been paid to do. And then trying to find energy, even when I was like, I know I'm not ready yet. You know what I mean? Like my head's still a little cloudy. That's how I was on Monday or Tuesday. But still having to make myself sit down in front of the computer and be like, focus. Try to make it work and do something. That way I can show at least I'm making progress on this to my client, Because otherwise it's like, well, they did pay you for a service. And so like when you're physically unable to do this and I don't have anybody that I can delegate this to, you kind of have to.
Well, that actually ties into the employee versus employer mentality, or employee versus entrepreneur mentality. As an employee, and this is pre-COVID ideas, we had this idea that we have to go in and be at work to get paid.
Yeah.
And people would force themselves sick to go into work in order to get paid.
Yep.
And then call in sick when they wanted to go to the lake. But since COVID, we've kind of had a shift where we're telling people that if you're sick, stay home.
Yeah.
And a lot more people are doing that. But as someone who can work remotely, as someone who is the only breadwinner of your business, you can't. I mean, you have to perform or you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
So that's.
And the business isn't going to succeed or grow or
Right.
do anything. Yeah. And then you get a reputation for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what's going on with you personally, clients can be understanding, but at some point they're just like, oh, well, I paid him to do a job, but it took him like 4 weeks to even get anything done. You know, it's.
Clients are understanding to your face, and
Yes.
that's very nice because as a person they understand, but as a business owner they don't, because you gave them a deadline or you gave them a chart or you gave them something that they have an expectation and they're like, oh, Ty, I'm sorry you don't feel good.
Mhm.
That sucks. And where are we at on our project?
Yeah.
And I always counsel people to, friends are friends and business is business, and that is important. And that so as a business owner, they should have that mentality. But as someone who is the sick person on the business side, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. For
When
sure.
I have an autoimmune, and before I was diagnosed, I was going through a lot of changes, and one of them was heavy fatigue. And still being the only breadwinner in my business, it was to the point where I live in a ranch-style house, and it was like the bedroom, the kitchen, and then the living room. In order to get from the bedroom to the living room, I had to stop in the kitchen and take a break. Like, I was that fatigued. And I still had to show up and function in front of people and do the things that they were expecting me to do, running on empty. So I have an idea of what you were experiencing as far as.
Oh, I know you do.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I wouldn't say I'm the only one at all. Yeah.
Oh no, I wasn't saying that at all. I'm just
No, I know
giving
you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, for sure.
But as a business owner, you have to make the decision, like, how much are you going to take care of yourself, and then how much you can take care of the business, because sometimes it's not just about self-care. Like, we're all about self-care and all about being healthy, but at the same time, being healthy sometimes means a little bit of sacrifice on one side or the other.
Yeah. It is. And when you're sacrificing some of your health.
Sometimes you have to. You have to weigh it out. Sometimes you're just gonna have to suck it up and go home and sleep a little extra and push through and finally put on the happy face and get through that client. And
That's true.
and sometimes you don't. And that's the hard question as
I
well
don't have
too.
nearly as a problem with that than I do with like people who, I don't know, like when I went to my first entrepreneurship class, and they were teaching us, lessons that other entrepreneurs have learned, blah, 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 blah. And so it's like you're learning about their stories, and there was a guy that started a garage, a car garage. It's multiple locations now, but it started in his own house garage when he was working on cars. But like on Christmas morning, he would be in there still working on cars while his kids were opening the presents in the living room, and he would just miss that, even though he was just a few feet away. And it's like, I can't understand that. That's dumb. You know what I mean?
Well,
like, what are you actually working for? Just to build an empire for somebody else to take over when you're dead?
And would an hour of his time really been wasted in his business if he had just gone over and said, okay, we're going to open up presents. I got an hour. I'm sorry we're pushing this, but I really want to be here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess the balance is giving yourself permission to give yourself those times and giving yourself permission to give your time away from your kids. Like, okay, I'm going to give you this time because it's important.
I like that permission. Yes, I have to get away from my kids for a little while. So.
I just sent my kids to Las Vegas.
You did?
I did.
No way.
No, I didn't just give them a ticket and go out and gamble.
Yeah, here's a bus ticket. Good luck, guys. That's what Vegas is all about. It's a gamble,
They're preteens and teens, and I have family out there, and so they go out there. And interestingly enough, even though this isn't the goal, but part of the sub-goal is going out there and not being, having this grand illusion of what Las Vegas is. Like, they've been out there several times. They go out there. It's just another city. There's a lot of lights and tall buildings. There's things to do. It's exciting, but it's not, Vegas. So I feel like by sending them out there, they're not going to rush out and get drunk and get married and gamble all their money away.
Yeah.
The first time they go to Vegas.
We hope.
Right. Hope. But they are doing a road trip right now. They're in California, going to Disney and
cool.
Universal. So they're also
So
experiencing
I think of
that.
Vegas, and I think, because the thought of Arizona and Nevada and just the desert and just the dry flatlands and stuff. I hate that's hell for me. I don't
I
want to see
own
that
land
ever.
in Arizona, and I'm hoping to get there one day because it's the high desert. I mean, it's just beautiful. I love that dry weather, nice, good breeze all the time, no bugs. And you walk outside, if you don't have like 14 layers of bug spray and a park on, you are going to get eaten alive in Arkansas.
Yeah.
But out there, you can sit by the pool dusk to dawn and just be enjoying the heat.
Yeah. It's part of living in Arkansas.
When the sun comes up, you
that's
not
the
so
gamble
much,
of living here.
Yeah, it is
You
for
might
sure.
get eaten by the local insects, but you still have lots of things to see.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the maximum problem. It's like I can't stand it being big, open, and flat. I know where everything is. I like discovery. I like exploring. I can't do that.
And you're thinking of desert as flat desert, so I think
Yes.
of desert as high desert, like Flagstaff area, where there's mountains and you know the area that our property is really just overlooks this huge valley, and you can't see 40 feet because there's too many trees, and you don't think about the deserts having that. So some of the desert is actually kind of nice.
Yeah. Okay. You said your property. You own some property.
I do.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Look at you.
It's the zombie apocalypse plan.
Apocalypse. There you go. If the apocalypse does happen, Nevada is a great place to be. Yeah, it already looks like the apocalypse hit. So I mean,
Sometimes,
it's
but
already prepared.
it's the area that we have water, and we have, because one of the biggest aquifers in the West is actually right under our property.
Yeah.
So we have water. If electricity goes out, it will be a little more of a problem. However, it's still run. We can ride bikes or whatever, make it happen.
Yeah.
There's trees, there's shelter, there's high ground, so there's a lot of opportunity out there. Plus, it's nice.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's just us. You can have Arkansas is beautiful, don't get me wrong. I mean, the lush grands, being able to have all that water, and I mean, that is something else that's very beautiful as well.
Yeah. And you're like, Arkansas is pretty too.
Yes, Arkansas is pretty too. I came here under duress. My husband's family lives here, and it's like, okay, fine.
So you're pressured into liking Arkansas, or have you grown to like it?
I've grown to like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was pressured into moving. Not so much pressured. The grandparents are here. So we had kids. We're like, all right, we're going to do with these kids. Let's go to grandparents. Free babysitting. Let's go do that. So we moved, and here we are. We're like, take the kids.
Yeah.
Which has been great for them. Like pretty much, I'd say 90% of the time, 90% of Fridays we have off from the kids. They go spend time with their grandparents, and it's really good. So that was a great move, and it took a while, but we've been here a little over 10 years now, and I've grown to love it. I've a great business. I've got a good network. I've done a lot of great things. I enjoy hiking, all of the things, but it took a minute.
Okay. Yeah.
It took a minute.
Well, good to know that. And that you have an apocalypse plan.
I do.
Everybody needs one of those. So we were going to talk today about, cups. This thing in front of me, like your cup. Like, I guess not your physical cup. Those are fun too.
Yeah.
But
I like to think of the cup as a physical cup because I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of different types of studies on decision fatigue, on ability. There's a great line in. You ever seen the movie Dogma?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that scene at the beginning when the one lady says to the other, and I can't remember their name, says, she's talking about some other guy who said, when you're little, your cup is small, so filling it is easier. Talking about faith.
Yeah.
And when you get older, your cup is bigger, so it takes more effort to fill it up.
Yeah.
Which is still similar into what I think about as just, talk about it as my resources that get me going, my resources that run my internal systems, that run, so keep my heart beating, keep my blood flowing, the resources that get my brain going, the resources that allow me to choose whether I'm going to wear this outfit or that outfit. Yeah. All of that takes effort and energy out of your body. It's not just specifically, this hormone or this vitamin mineral, but it's a combination of everything. And you can have decision fatigue. You can empty that cup so much that you just are without any more good choices to make. And it's more and more becoming common that people are starting to recognize that. But what they don't realize is that so much, it's not just decisions, it's so much takes out of that. So let's say you're doing great, you got your cup, it's 3/4 full, you're doing okay, you trip over something and you stub your toe. Well, now you have to put in resources towards dealing with the embarrassment, who saw you, the pain, if there's injury involved with that, are you late for something? All these other things now start taking resources out of your cup. So that when you get to your meeting, you are now at half or maybe down to 1/4.
Yeah.
And then if you go to that meeting and you forget your ID or you whatever, have to sit and talk to someone who's maybe a little more emotionally draining, and you have to put up your walls, or you have to deal with that, or you get a call from your kid's school, or all those different things take up the resources that you have to use to function in your life. And when you get to the podium or you get to whatever you're doing, maybe your cup might be empty by the time you get there if you haven't made the steps to keep refilling it. And that's something that a lot of business owners and people in general, I think, don't pay enough attention to. Is it's not just the decisions, it's not just the day-to-day, it's all the other little things that tie into that. You know, were you late for work because the bug guy was late for you? That takes a lot of energy out of your cup. And if you don't pay attention about refilling that cup with whatever it is that gets your cup refilled, whether it be spending time alone or reading or meditating or, you know, my dysfunctional go-to is when my cup starts getting low, I'm like, I'm gonna eat food because it just makes me happy. And I'm like, it's not a great filler, but it does tide me over until I can get to something that will fill it well.
Right.
And you know, I'm constantly looking for a better alternative. But when I get low, when I get down to the bottom of the cup, the first thing I want to do is just put some food in my body. And sometimes I need that, but most of the time I don't really need the food. I just need to fill my cup.
Right. It's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So do you ever experience that? And if so, what do you do to fill your cup?
I do. So like we were talking about that. I was thinking about my social media that I always tell people that I have. You know, I mean, as a natural introvert, but I've made a career off of organizing social events and networking and doing all this stuff. And so it's kind of weird, and those two things can be at odds with each other because the demands are I've got to be at this place with around all these people from this time to this time, regardless of how I'm feeling. And so like I will make sure that I don't do too much talking before that event on that day, or socializing, or going to talk to other people or anything. I will be by myself, listening to music, listening to podcasts, whatever it is I might be doing for a while. And then when I get there, then it's like, all right, showtime, we can do this, But while it's happening, like my social meter is running low, but it won't run low as fast as it would have if I had been doing that all day long already, you know what I mean? Because by that time, I'm done. I'm done with people. I'm ready to go. And sometimes, like, I'll just, like, to recharge myself, I usually go, whenever I go home, go to, so two different places. If I'm home or in that area, I'll go into my office, turn off all the lights, and just sit there in the dark and play guitar or, just something, you know what I mean? Just sit there in the dark, and because it's completely black. I got my blackout curtains and everything. It's just a black room. Me and the guitar. And so like the only thing I can do is just feel. That's the only sensory I've got going, you know what I mean? And then listening while I'm playing. The other is like parks. If I'm in a different city or if I'm here in Little Rock, I like to go to the Old Mill Park in North Little Rock. And if we're in, let's say, Nashville or Dallas or Tyler or whatever, you know what I mean, we're going all over the place, I'll find, a small park that has some little the bridges that cut through the woods and that type of stuff, you know what I mean, to go walking there and stuff, and that really recharges me. So
it's interesting that you mentioned that. If you follow a lot of the biohackers, they'll say that if you travel, especially particularly by plane, but travel anywhere away from your time zone specifically, and you spend 5 minutes when you get to destination, taking your shoes off and standing on the ground, like not the concrete, obviously, but. And if that's what you got, but preferably earth, grass.
Sort of connecting.
Yeah, and they call it grounding.
Yeah.
And because they're literally on the ground. And they've actually, and grain of salt, but it done studies, and it shows that these people, when they do that, they acclimate to the time zone faster and more efficiently with more energy than if they just got off the plane and went to the hotel.
That's interesting.
So it's something, I don't travel enough to really test it.
Well, I mean, we're going on a trip next week, so that's a
so
great time
here you
to
go.
test this.
Next week, we're going to have Tyler's going to go on this trip. He's going to get out. He's going to find himself a patch of grass, take those shoes off, stand there for 5 minutes, and see how that affects your body.
Definitely so. And so like, yoga does the same thing. It's like a big belief that you're supposed to be connected your skin to the ground, the natural to natural. Wicca, the religion, also has meditations where you're supposed to do that. There was one, I remember, like, I used to study this as a kid, or in high school stuff, curious about different religions and all this stuff, but where you sort of sit cross-legged on the ground, and you're supposed to close your eyes. You imagine that the bottom of your spine that's touching the ground It's actually connected into a root system, and then like you're supposed to feel your place by how connected all these other human beings are to you, because every root is going out to all the other lives and the trees and just everything else. And so it makes sense what you're saying. Yeah. So there's like the mythical side of it, and then the scientific side of like why this works together.
Exactly, and a lot of the things that have been around for thousands of years, if you look at them and then you try to parallel that to things that are more scientific or more modern, a lot of times they're very parallel. You'll find that there are correlations that, sure, if you take away all the mystic words and plug that exact same idea into all the technical words, you're doing the same thing with the same outcome.
Yeah, for sure. I guess you would know that a lot because of the massage,
Well, I mean, I've also
comes from a lot of different practices.
studied into a lot of different religions, and I am in a rabbit hole also because a lot of the massage modalities do come from India, Thailand, all these ancient ideas, China, that were a lot of it's rooted into that grounding and homeostasis with the body, and it's not as much about touch as about regrounding the body. Lomi Lomi and from Hawaii is very much about that. It's very much about finding balance in the world around you with your body, and that touch modality is used as a bridge to get you there.
Yeah, for sure. And so refilling the cup, making sure that there's still plenty to give, and like what does recharge. It changes, I guess, with me. So everybody's different. Like I said, me being an introvert, obviously that's my number one priority, is making sure that I can handle being around other people or talking to other people. And so there's a lot of performative emotions whenever you're out in public and you're talking to other people. But as far as like energy wise, like going out and doing things, so like being able to get out, so the best part of my job is like doing this, where I'm out and I'm moving around. Like today I've got a full schedule of all kinds of things I'm doing. I'm going to different locations. Each assignment is going to be completely different. And I'm getting to try new things. Like the next one, I'm going to an actual filming studio, and we're going to mess with some professional equipment. I know, right? And hopefully learn some things to bring back in here.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's fun. That's got me excited. You know what I mean? That fills my cup whenever I get to do new stuff like that. The creative side. Sometimes I'll sit down in front of, cause like clients will hire me and be like, "Hey, I want a website." Okay, what do you have a brand book? Do you have anything? Like they don't have anything.
They just know
they don't have a
website.
logo. They don't have colors. It's just
someone said I needed a website. Make me one.
Yeah. So I'll sit down in front of this computer, and like it may take me a couple of hours to even get started, because I'm just like researching other colors that might work together, and
what are the competition
fonts.
doing?
Yeah. And I try not to do that too much, because that like it influences what I do, and I don't like that. And so like looking at fonts and colors and stuff, and trying to come up with something completely original. Don't start from a template. Always start from a scratch, and trying to build this out of like what would I like to see. And like that can be draining, because you're like, okay, I'm supposed to be creative, and you can't turn that on. You know what I mean?
No, you can't. You have to be inspired.
Yeah.
So there's this show, I think it's on Netflix, and I don't know what it's called, but basic premise is people in their youth get bad tattoos.
Do they? Yeah, they do.
And then you go into this reality show, and they get these top tattoo artists.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, we're going to fix your tattoo. But you don't get to pick it. Your friend does.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the show.
So my husband watches the show, and he's like, that's so cool. So he comes to me, he's like, I need you to design my next tattoo. I'm thinking, great, I have another decision I have to make.
Because it's usually your friend or family member or something like that chooses the tattoo for you.
Yeah.
God, I wouldn't trust that.
Well, he does, and that just gave me more decision to make.
Good
but
for you guys.
It was fine. I designed a tattoo. I went through and I knew some things about him that he would like. I'm more creative than he is, and so I designed this big thing. And I'm not an artist by any means of being able to draw things. So I had like 8 pictures, and then I had them smashed together. And I drew, and I had arrows, and so it was very rudimentary. And I went to the tattoo place, and I went through the bios, and I knew that I needed someone who could do a lot of shading.
Yeah.
And so I found someone who had really good shading. And we went to the guy, and I'm trying to describe it. And one part of the tattoo is a globe that is kind of disintegrating. And I said to him, have you ever seen a planet being eaten by a black hole? that, I mean, you do science fiction, so doesn't that establish a kind of
I
idea?
mean, yeah, I've seen it in fiction.
Yeah.
Have I seen it?
No, not in real life, like in fiction, like in science fiction shows where the planet is just kind of disintegrating off to one side. He had no idea what he's talking about. So the first draft was really bad. And so I had to be able to explain to him science fiction, like from the beginning, because he'd never even heard of Doctor Who or any of those things.
The tattoo artist?
Yeah.
No way.
Yes.
Had never heard of Doctor Who.
Maybe not have heard of Doctor Who, but never seen an episode. Had no idea about all this stuff.
Where is he from?
I don't know.
That's an alien.
That's an alien, right. So we're going, so he gives me the first thing, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. And then we talked about, I'm like, this needs to do this, and then we got all these pictures of weird things, and finally he got it, and it turned out to be a great tattoo. But to your point, he does that all day, every day. He has to look at someone else's ideas and then be creative to create that idea and then to see it into fruition. So I was wondering, like, you know, what is he doing to fill his cup? Because...
Yeah, how do you take somebody else's, like you said, your drawing, you know what I mean, and be like, okay, I've got to be creative and make this like sort of my own type of thing. I don't know. Like I understand how to do it in music because I do that all the time. Like whenever I'm playing, I can find the chords online, you know what I mean, and be like, I know the song, I know the chords, here they are, blah 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 blah. But I'm usually playing it on acoustic by myself, and it's going to be in my style. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a little different than what you're used to. That
As
type
a
of
musician, yes. So I am not a musician.
Yeah.
I can recreate. I would be one of those people that I could be an expert piano player, but I would not be a good piano player because I could recreate the notes exactly as they're written, perfectly. Yeah. But without heart.
Okay.
Because if you don't,
so
it's that hard.
Trying to make an exact copy. You're
I'm a
Xerox machine.
I'm a Xerox machine when it comes to music. I cannot. I don't have that now. When it comes to drawing, I don't have that skill, but I do have the artistic ability to come up with ideas like that.
See, I had a friend. He did acrylic painting, right, and pencil drawings, but he was just like what you're talking about, like Xerox. Like it was an exact copy. He would look at a photograph. And he would paint it out, draw it out, whatever, but the shading and colors and everything like that, it looked exactly like the photo. You could not hardly tell them apart unless you like brought it up and you saw the brush strokes and stuff.
Which is...
I can't be that type of person. Like I'm like, okay, I know mine's not going to look anywhere near like that because, like you said, it's inspired. You have to be inspired, and so like mine's going to be a little bit, tilted more towards the dark. I'm gonna have a little bit more shadows and stuff like that, and that just naturally happens because that's what I'm drawn to. But yeah, how to take somebody else's creation and be like, okay, I've got to make something similar. Yeah, similar to this. Yeah, it's hard to be inspired. What does fill that cup to make you want to be inspired and give that energy out?
So, I mean, I think a lot of tattoo artists become tattoo artists because they are artists. And then they get into the work and they're like, I am just not inspired by your Tasmanian devil, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And they can't do that because, they still have to, pay the bills.
That's like artists that have commissions, you know what I mean? Like the commission paintings, they'd be like, hey, can you paint my brother's baptism? And it's like, oh, God, I guess. That's not my style. I paint fairies and stuff. Have you not seen what I do? And it's like, I can try.
Is your brother a fairy? Because then I can work with that.
The fairy, I want to see that. I want to see that painting now.
You need to type that into that website. I went to it, and it was like, this network's busy. I'm like, all right, I'll go back to it later. So fairy baptism,
refresh.
It was on my phone, so I was going to do it on the computer, and then I forgot until just this moment.
Oh, it's great. Yes, it's going to come up with something horrific. It's going to be nice.
I was going to do podcast. I thought, no, I'm going to do cast pod.
Yeah.
So the words were set different.
Okay.
And now we have to add fairy baptism.
Yes, cast pod.
Cast pod fairy baptism. See what happens.
So for you, filling your cup, what would you say is your big thing?
Time in my head. But I gotta be careful.
Time in your head.
Because I can way go into a rabbit hole there. But when I'm really overwhelmed and feeling like my cup is needing to be filled, I will be driving to work and I have to have silence.
Yeah.
I can't listen to a podcast. I can't even listen to music. Windows up, gotta have silence.
Just silence?
Just silence.
I can't do it.
And another thing that I do is I have a little game that I can focus on, and that lets me drown out all the other sounds. Because my problem is there's just so much noise in my head.
Yeah.
And then when I get all of the noise battling is when I get overwhelmed. So if I can just calm the noise, then I can sleep. And if I can calm the noise, then I can focus. And that right now, that's my biggest thing. And this is weird because, and it's not, but it's weird for me because I'm experiencing it. Yeah, I've been in a multi-car family all my life. Not all my life, all my adult life.
Okay.
As I got married, we both had cars.
Yeah. You
And
weren't born as an adult.
I was not.
Okay.
I thought I was. And I
Yeah.
acted much like an adult as a child, but they did not
Got
give
it.
me a car until I was able to go buy it myself.
Okay.
Fair enough. So as an adult, I've always been a multi-car family, so I've always driven myself places. I drive myself to work. My husband drives himself to work. Occasionally we drive together, but mostly we have our own thing. And with the gas prices, and my husband's working right across the street, we try to carpool a couple times a week. Save a bunch of money. I mean, the prices are getting crazy.
Yeah.
But then I'm driving to work, and he's there. And sometimes listen to his music or whatever, or his podcast, or him talking, and I love him. But at the same time, I don't have that cup filling time.
Yeah.
So I find myself, when I don't carpool, getting to work way early, just so I can have some time to do that decompression that I have to do.
So my wife is like that too. She hates it because I've got to have either music or podcast playing. I've got to have some sort of audio stimulation while I'm shaving or taking a shower. And so, but like it echoes in the bathroom, and so like when she's trying to sleep or get ready or everything, like it's not a good thing for her. It's just like, why are they gonna be so loud? That type of thing. But yeah, I've got to, I don't know, I guess being a multitasker, like if I don't have several plates spinning at the same time, then it just feels weird and I feel off. And so like I've got to have like audios, and I'm trying to pay attention to the podcast and shave at the same time while I'm thinking about other things that I need to be doing today.
I can see that.
So yeah, that helps keeping me on track.
What's interesting though is that helps keep you on track, and I have to calm myself to be able to do that. So I calm myself in the quiet and doing the things in order to be able to spin the plates when I get to work. So I can be working on this person's issues, and I've got this over here, decision for the business, and I've got this going on, got to work on this class, and I can do all that, but I have to have that quiet time in order to get there.
You can have some help here.
I do, thank God.
Yeah.
Finally, get some great help. I got Lena, but I also got Heather. And the thing is, and this is actually an interesting business point, is I tried to hire people in my industry for years. I tried to hire therapists. I tried to hire people that knew what was going on, and I found that was an epic fail for me. And part of it is the type of people that generally come into the industry, but part of it is it wasn't what I needed.
Yeah.
And now I've got my assistant Lena, and she comes from a financial background. She's got a financial degree. And then I've also now got Heather, who, interestingly enough, also has a financial background, but she also has an artistic background. She's done theater all of her life. So these two people that have absolutely nothing to do with massage therapy are helping me really knock out of the park right now. And awesome. Being able to find that balance in the workplace, to be able to see the things that need to be done and help make the vision go forward. It was interesting because if you'd asked me 5 years ago, do you want to hire a theater major, I'd be like, why?
Right.
First of all, I know nothing about theater except for what you see on TV, and it is not accurate. I just, all these people that are running around naked spouting Shakespeare. And no, I don't need that here. But that's not what theater is, and I'm lucky to have her.
You thought that theater was people running around naked shouting Shakespeare?
You all see you see the backstage on the movies and the shows, and there's just all these people doing
just
lines.
Naked people back there shouting Shakespeare?
No, but in their bodysuits, changing costumes really fast.
Bodysuits, that's naked.
And doing just running around, just doing the things, changing from one ballet costume to
Have you seen a show?
No.
You've never seen a play?
No, I have, but not a lot. I've seen a couple of plays. It's not my thing.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
people there.
Do yourself a favor. Go see a play.
I feel like I've done enough. I've seen Anne Frank twice.
Okay. You don't have to see it twice.
Well, that's when the school did. They took me to Anne Frank twice. I used to go see a ballet, The Nutcracker. I've seen that like 8 times.
Okay, that's, yeah.
I've seen something else that happened. I don't remember what it was. It was not really impactful. Something I'd heard of. Oh, I went and saw Disney on Ice. That kind of sucked for the kids. It was Disney on Ice.
I saw the Marvel
really
Universe
cool.
live, and
Really?
it was like, it was, of course, acrobatic type of people, and you had Captain America and all that stuff, and one guy on huge stilts that was supposed to be Groot from Guardians and stuff like that. It was really corny, but it was great for me because I was like, oh, I love
that stuff on my TV.
Yeah.
I don't want to be there. And that's because there's a whole lot of energy in the room with people that I have to work to not absorb. It's like I won't go to like a Goodwill. My sister loves to go to Goodwill, and she gets so excited. She's like, the shorts were on sale. They're normally $8.99 and they were $3.99. I'm like, I would rather pay $50 online than go to the Goodwill. Like, I have nothing against it. I think it's great. I love that she finds these deals. I wish I could be that person, but I walk in there and I just start getting the EBGBs because I can just feel the energy of all the things that are there.
Yeah.
So, I just don't do. That's my introvert. Is I just don't do well with other people's energy when I'm not on. When I don't have the hat on.
You would hate those new stores that are popping up. The ones that are like, they buy flats of all kinds of returned merchandise.
Oh yeah,
from Amazon.
You talk about that. You love that. I love that you love that. Yeah, I know those deal.
Dollar Days, going in there, like you find all kinds of like screen protectors for your iPhones and stuff.
That would be great if they would.
Cases for your iPads and stuff.
If they put it online and let me just touch things and then bring it to me.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's not like that. You have to go in there. You got to dig, and you got to be elbow to elbow with just dozens and dozens and dozens.
Don't need anything that bad.
All of them trying to get exactly where you are on that table, digging out, and so they're sort of just edging you over. You know what I mean? Trying to.
See, I would just back away slowly.
Yeah.
Nina told me a story very recently. She goes to the Goodwill, and there's this terrarium, and she says she's just filled with regret. This is terrarium. It had Buddha head inside, and she's like, it's perfect. She says, and a guy comes up. He's like, I need that. And she says, you need that? He says, I need that. She's like, you need that? He's like, yeah, I need that. She's like, okay. So she let him have it.
Oh, wow.
And now she's, to this day, this has been like a month, she's still, man, I wish I had a terrarium. So I'm thinking about going and just making her one.
Yeah, because they're not
wasn't super
uncommon, right?
No, yeah, I was just like, I'm just going to go make her a terrarium like here.
No, my daughter has one. She's been trying to bring it home, and I'm like, nope. Because I know exactly what she'll do. She'll put like snails and stuff in there, and it's people have things with like snakes and spiders and stuff. My thing is snails, slugs, and the other little slimy things.
Yeah.
Yes, God, leeches.
Ugh. There's no reason to own a leech.
There's no reason those things to be alive. It's just slime. it's living slime. Why? Why do we need that? It's gross.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason.
She would they would crawl out. I know that they would. I just know it. And it would be gross.
Yep, and then you'd have to go back into your quiet room and play guitar.
God. With fear that slugs were going to crawl underneath my door to my car. Oh, God. Yes.
Well, good thing is it moves slow. So if the slug invasion ever occurs, then you can know where they've been and you can avoid them.
Freaking disgusting. Why do we need that? Anyway.
So we're going to title this podcast Tangents.
Yes. Well, we have gone down a lot of different roads. So, yeah. Any other roads you want to add on to?
I think we should cut it short because otherwise people are going to have to be going like, what
did I just listen to?
Train wreck?
Those are the ones I enjoy, though. I enjoy recording them, and I enjoy listening to them.
They are a way that fills my cup.
Yeah, there it is. So, working on a couple of things, and I need to talk to you about some of those things. So, I am working on Arkansas's very first podcasting convention.
Very nice.
I'm organizing it.
Excellent.
So
I hope we can be involved.
We definitely can if you're willing to be involved in this.
I want to be involved in that.
Okay, great.
Don't tell Lena because she's mad at me first. Every time she's like, you cannot come up with any new projects. Like, okay, I won't. I won't come up with any new projects.
Right.
Don't tell her.
So I've got some meetings later today, and there's a huge potential. I was so surprised. I threw this out there just to try to gauge, what was the interest in this? Because there's a national one that happens every year called RTX in Austin, but I was like, Arkansas.
When is that? When is the Austin thing?
In October.
Okay. Maybe we should plan to go.
Well, that would be great. Yeah.
Get some information together. Plan a meeting.
Yeah, for sure. And so I've seen them online, but I've never been in person. And so I was like, I know how it kind of works. With it's kind of like a Hall H, Comic-Con type of thing.
I'm an in-person thing. If you have it online, you'll get me attention for about 10 minutes, and then I'm over here going. I should iron this, or
Right.
so yeah. If you get that information together, I would love to have us sit down and talk about that more specifically
sure.
about what we can do as Camp
know more
Collaborative
about
to
it
get with
after
that.
today,
Yeah, definitely.
So that'd be great.
Would love that.
And there's, like I said, there's lots of interest and potential to,
And
especially sponsors and stuff like that. so
Potential
that'd be
sponsors,
great.
potential guests on our existing podcast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Arkansas does have some top, top rated, top 100, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a shrink tank and a lot of people out there that are doing a lot of great
Different
things
podcasts.
for.
Yeah.
So that would be.
And
really
I know
cool.
a lot, quite a few of them. I was surprised by how many I actually know that actually host these things. And so I'm going to be talking to them about trying to bring on different panels. Talking about in different areas, you know what I mean, and some workstations and different things like that. But anyways, yeah.
Yep,
It's gonna be cool.
Absolutely, we have some contacts to
yeah.
help put that together, and I would love to be a part of that for sure.
There you go. All right, well, if you're I was like, which part comes next? Let me think about this. Yeah, if you are a video watcher, you can always catch us on all of the audio podcasting tools like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Castcast, all that. You can find us at Healthy Business Podcast. Yes. And if you are an audio listener, you can always catch us on YouTube.
And be sure and like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe. I don't ever say that enough, but yeah, make sure you do that.
And share. And like, subscribe, and share. Share with a friend. Let
And
them
share.
know how
if
exciting
you like it,
we are.
why not share it?
Right?
You know what I mean?
I actually sent my kids, they're in California at Universal Studios, and I sent them a link, and I'm like, you need to listen to the first 5 minutes of this podcast, and then I want you to text me back and tell me what you think.
Yeah. I heard that, I've heard two different, like the difference between a nerd and a hipster is that a nerd wants everybody to like what they like. You know what I mean? I'm into Star Wars, and I want everybody to be in Star Wars. Oh, you haven't seen the new one? You gotta go watch it. That type of thing. Hipsters are very exclusive. They want to be the only one that likes that one thing, and that's what makes them different.
Okay.
It's
I am not a hipster then.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm such a nerd.
I try to bring everybody else in.
Very cool. I'm so excited. We got lots of things in the future coming up.
Yeah.
And we'll be hitting our 30th episode not too long from now.
Right. I think we got
We should have like a.
Let's see. I just 23, 24, 25. So like with 4 more.
Okay. And we should have like I don't know, a non-green cupcake or something like that.
Yes.
I'll try to plan something a little. Maybe we'll have a special guest.
Party poppers in the microphone. We'll do an ASMR episode. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have you ever seen those?
I have not, but that is
Those
now
are
sounding really interesting.
irritating. My God, those are irritating.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Unless you're just, I don't know. For some people get into it. They like the sound. They like the rubbing on the microphone. But like for me, that's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
And like if you rub a balloon, that gets every goosebump on my body. Though.
I'm sitting there panicked, waiting for it to pop.
Yeah.
Oh my God! When's it gonna happen?
Right.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's see people again.
Anyways, yes. You want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
All right, and keep your business healthy.